everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Christine if you're new here. Today's video has been a long time coming. It's my family room makeover. I started this project back in early spring when life got busy with work, travels and family, so I could only share bits and pieces in my shots. I'm so happy to finally show you the complete transformation along with all the little styling details that brought this room to life. So let's dive in. For those of you who have been around for a while, you might recognize this space. It's often been the backdrop for my thrift and antique hauls videos, but I haven't given the entire room a fresh look since Christmas. This year, I've completely fallen in love with traditional heritage-inspired style, especially blue and white accents. I couldn't wait to fill this room with antique treasures, thrift finds, and meaningful pieces I've collected over time. Because this room means so much to us, I wanted this makeover to feel personal. You're gonna see plenty of little details throughout to tell our stories while creating a warm, collected space for our family. The very first step of this family room makeover was adding wall panel molding. I knew I wanted the room to feel more custom like architecture, but I also wanted something beginner-friendly. I wasn't interested in spending days measuring, cutting trims, and making endless trips to the hardware store. So instead, I picked out the pre-kit peel and stick molding kit from Amazon. When it arrived, I was pleasantly surprised by how simple the system was. Everything was already cut to size and labeled by number, which made the whole project feel much less intimidating. The first step was laying out all the pieces according to the guide. Since everything was numbered, it felt a little like putting together a giant puzzle. I started by installing the first two vertical pieces, which became the anchor points for the entire wall. To make sure everything stays straight, I blocked out my laser label, which ended up being my best friend throughout the project. Once I have learned with DIY projects that small mistakes at the beginning become much bigger problems later, spending extra time here saved me a lot of headaches. Once those first pieces were in place, the process became surprisingly simple. Follow the numbers, check alignments, peel off the backing, stick it to the wall, repeat. And honestly, it was pretty satisfying watching the design come together panel by panel. For long, the entire wall was blended out, and even before paint, I could already see the room gaining so much character and architectural interest. But installation was only half the process. To make everything look truly beautiful, I went back and clocked everything in joints where the molding met the wall. It wasn't the most exciting steps, but it's one of those details that make a huge difference in the final result. After cloth dried, I lightly sanded the seams and edges to smooth out any imperfections and help everything blend together seamlessly. Then come to the most satisfying part, paint. To keep the look cohesive, I used Benjamin Moore's Simple White, which is the same color already used throughout the room. Ideally, I probably should have used an eggshell or slightly shiny finish for the molding, but I only had a matte finish on hand. At that point, I was not about to slow this process down any further, so I just went with it. And honestly, once everything was painted, the whole wall came together beautifully. As soon as the first coat went on, all of the individual pieces started visually disappearing into the wall. The molding no longer looked like something that had been added afterwards. With the wall molding finished, it's finally time to move on to my favorite part of any makeover, bringing the furniture and starting to build the warm, collective family room I had been envisioning. With the wall molding finished, the room finally had an architectural foundation that I wanted. The first piece to go down was this Amber Louis in the loyal rack, which I got from Amazon. It's an 8x10 size, and the low pile is perfectly for the high traffic area like this. I used the ruler to make sure the edges were straight, and the geometric pattern actually helped me light out the furniture layout. Then came the heavy lifting. The sideboard is from Queen & Barrel, and because it's such a solid piece, we use a furniture mover kit to slowly rolling into place. You can also see us using painter tape to make sure the sideboard is centered with the wall moldings for a more symmetrical look. After the sideboard was in place, I mapped out the coffee table with painter tape so I could track the spacings and the traffic flow before moving everything in. Then we brought in the CV2 sofa, striped accent chairs from Target, and the reclaimed wood coffee table from the RH. None of these furniture pieces are new to my channel, but honestly, this is where their durability really shines. I also added this blue and white garden stool from TJ Maxx between the accent chairs. It brings in the classic pattern, ecosystem and color story throughout the room, and also works as an extra surface of flexible sitting moment. Next to the sofa, I placed this marble top bistro side table from Walmart. The black base adds a little bit contrast, while the marble top makes it feel polished and timeless. Once the main furniture was in, the room immediately felt warmer, more grounded, and ready for all the styling layers to come. Then I moved on to the wall above the sideboard. I installed these tapestries from the Long Fox collection and instantly brought in that old world collective feelings I wanted. On each side, we add a pair of black sconces that I actually bought about 8 years ago and never found a right spot for, and they finally found their home here. The tapestries, sconces, reclaimed wood, and soft upholstery starting pulling the whole room together in such a warm, layered way. Kimchi, of course, was there for the entire process, either inspecting every piece or acting as our little cheerleaders along the way. So far, she has uploaded everything we placed in the room, which I'm taking as a very good sign. On the other side of the room, I brought in the secretary desk and chair. These two pieces were found on separate and taking trips, but somehow they feel like they were meant to be paired together. The desk has beautiful walnut tone wood, and I love the old world craftsmanship that feels so hard to find in modern furniture. The chair brings in a softer personality with its long wood tone, plus flat upholsteries and curved silhouette. From the beginning, I imagined this as a little working corner where I can edit videos, answer emails, or sit with coffee while still feeling connecting to the family room. Above it, I planned a gallery wall. After deciding on the overall look, I used paper templates to map out the layout before committing. Unlike the gallery work I had by my staircase, I wanted this one to mix different materials and textures. The focal point is this large accent print. I already had the print on hand, and the frame was one I found years ago from IKEA. I love the romantic old-world musing room scene. It feels soft, moody, and almost like a quiet little moment captured from another time. Around it, I laid two antique-style decorative plates with similarly romantic scenes. They echo the feelings of the artwork without matching it too perfectly, which gives their work a more collective, antique market look. On the plates, I add a 3 glass sconce that I had been saving for the right spot. It finally found its home here. It adds a little shine, a little edge. It helps blend the whole gallery wall. Together, the print, plates, sconce turns this corner into something much more personal, romantic, collective, and full of character. Near the entries of the family room, I added another small collection of thrift finds as a quiet transition into the space. These vintage floral plants were found on separate trips, and each one has a different rice botanical design: salt purple blooms, blue hydrangeas, irises, and white flowers. I placed the blue hydrangeas plant at eye level because it ties it beautifully with all the blue and white accents throughout the room. I kept doing a simple vertical arrangement to fill this narrow wall without making it feel too basic, and they end up looking so beautiful together. Moving into the decorating phase, I started with this frog olive tree from Amazon. I wanted something tall enough to soften the corner, bring a little life into the room without competing with the gallery work and secretary desk nearby. The printer is from at home, and I love the classy arm shape. It has that aged stone look that fits beautifully with the traditional directions of the room. To give the tray extra height, I placed a few boxes inside the printer before setting it in place, then covered everything with the preserved moss for a more finished, natural look. I love how the soft green leaves break out the wood tones and natural upholstery. This corner felt a little empty before, but the tray instantly made it feel fuller, softened, and more layered. The other side of the sideboard, I tucked a thrift wicker basket into the corner and filled it with 4 hydrangeas from Hobby Lobby. I love that it adds another layer of texture without competing with any of the larger pieces in the room. The basket is actually quite functional too. It can easily hold extra pillows and throw blankets when needed. We then move on to styling the top of the sideboard. Starting on the left side, I wanted to create a statement, so I filled this vintage vase with hydrangeas in shades of blue, brush pink, and salt purple. The blue hydrangeas are true touch stems from Home Goods. I immediately added them to my cart because of how large the blooms are and how realistic the petals look. I used 2 bundles here. The remaining hydrangeas were sourced from my home country overseas. To ground the arrangement, I stacked a few coffee table books and layered in these small marble pastel bowls from H&M with anthropology matchboxes, a few loose florals, and an antique silver candle and snuffer. I finished the left side by leaning a vintage ballet print behind the books to tie everything together. For the right side, I anchored the vignette with this vintage figurative lamp, which might be one of my favorite pieces in the room. The sculptural base features a woman carrying a basket of flowers, and paired with the sweet plaid shade, it adds so much old-world charm and softness. Next, I leaned a few books vertically to create height in sculpture, then layered it in a small stack of coffee table books. On top, I grounded together silver hurricane candle holders, brass taper holders, and a silver pastel dish holding a blue candle. None of these pieces came from the same shopping trips. In fact, they were collected over several different sweetings and antique adventures, but together they feel surprisingly cohesive. To finish the arrangement, I added table candles to the holders, tacked a few losing greeneries throughout the vignette, and placed another pair of cream table candles into the sconces. The combinations of color, textures, height, and materials helps this vignette feel layered and balanced, while still leaving room for the eye to rest. Moving over to the textures, this is where I really started layering in color, patterns, and softness to make the room feel living. On the right side of the sofa, I dripped a chunky cream throw over the arm for a relaxed, casual look. Then I layered 3 pillows in different shades and patterns of blue. The floral pillows blend in deeper navy and warm brown tones. The block print pillows adds a softened pattern. The solid blue linen pillows gives the eye a place to rest. On the left side of the sofa, I kept the palette softened with a blue and white stripe pillows featuring bow ties at the corners, paired with an embroidered floral pillows. I love mixing stripes with florals because it instantly adds inches while still feeling timeless and classic. For the first accent chair, I kept things simple with a ruffled blue ticking stripe pillow. The second accent chair has a completely different personality. I draped a cozy throw blanket trimmed with blue along the edge, then layered a soft blue lumbar pillows with a round botanical patterns cushion. The mix of shade helps break up all the pillows in the room, while the muted blue and sage tones tie back to the overall color palette. You might recognize some of these pillows from different thrift products like with Studio Maggie collections. I thrifted them over time and they found a new home together in a room. Throughout the space, I mixed florals, stripes, embroidery, solids, and different texture, so the rooms feels layered and collected over time rather than purchased all at once. Moving to the coffee table, I wanted the style to feel collective, functional, and easy to live in. Starting on the left side, I used this vintage silver urn as my anchor piece and filled it with fork arches. Arches has really grown on me lately because they're used so often in traditional interiors. Paired with aged silver urn, they create such a timeless and elegant look. To create height underneath, I started a few coffee table books and topped them with a blue and white decorative box. I love pieces like this because they are beautiful while also hiding molds and often everyday items within easy reach. On the other side of the books, I added a little blue basket to hold my matches, along with a candle snuffer and a stack of silver coasters. I like grouping this together to create a cozy candle station, and the coasters are always within reach when we entertaining or enjoy a drink while protecting the reclaimed wood coffee table. Toward the center, I placed a glass tissue box on top of a blue and white plate. It's an everyday item, but styling it this way makes it feel intentional instead of purely functional. On the right side, I opened my Living with Blue and White coffee table book in the center of the table. It ties into the room beautifully, and I love how an open book instantly makes a space feel more living. Plus, I'm free in my blue and white era right now. I can't help but flip through it whenever I need a little styling inspiration. Finally, I layered a pair of thrift glass hurricanes with pure candles. The glass keeps the arrangement feeling light, while the silver base adds patina and the candles bring warmth, balancing the florals on the opposite side. The time I finished styling the coffee table, it felt like more than just decor. It's where we gather, light a candle, flip through our favorite books, and enjoy the little everyday moments that make a house feel like home. For the side table styling, I started by adding this wooden riser from Magnolia to give the whole vignette a little more height and presence. On top, I placed the thrift blue and white lamp with a plastic shade, which instantly make the corner feel softer, warmer, and more traditional. Next to it, I used a coffee table book as a base, then layered it in a thrift brass vessel filled with roses, a blue candle, and a mini thrift printer that I repurposed as a match holder. I like finding new ways to use my thrift pieces because it makes styling feel more creative, personal, and inspiring. In the front, I created a little gallery moment with photos of our cat, Kimchi. Every silver frames were thrift, and I love mixing different shapes and sizes because it creates a more layered, collective look instead of everything feeling too perfectly matched. To finish the vignette, I used the saucer from the printer as a small dish and placed a butterfly candle snuffer on top. It's such a tiny detail, but those are always my favorite part of decorating. These little corners add so much personality to the room. Every time I walk by, it reminds me that a beautiful home is not just always styling pretty things together. It's about surrounding yourself with memory, stories, and little everyday moments that make the space feel truly yours. Moving on to the secretary desk. This was probably one of the most meaningful pieces to style because it gave me so much little shelves, cupboards, and surface to tell a story. Starting from the top, I used a bust to bring in that classic old wall feeling. Then I placed an antique cookbook facing inward at the base and layered it with silver frames with personal photos in the middle. I particularly love the oval frames with little feet that slightly elevated it. On top of the book, I added a purple marble bowl and a candle with a butterfly details on the lid. The top layers immediately felt personal, romantic, full of little memories. For the middle shelf, I stacked a few coffee table books and added a blue and white ginger jar with fish patterns. On the other side, I layered antique books vertically and topped them with a travertine scallop edge bookend to create height and sculpture. Then I finished the middle with another ginger jar to bring in more patterns and continue the blue and white story. Inside the cubits, I kept layering small collected pieces, 3 books, an antique brass tone trinket box, a 3-bar vase, another small black bust, and a pair of Chinoiserie black vases from at home. I added dry baby breath to one of the vases and tucked in a few small books to complete the lower layer. On the writing surface, I placed this blue banker lamp from TJ Maxx, opening a thrift decorating coffee table books, and used a candle snuffer almost like a bookmark. I also added this exit trinket box with a horse pattern, which brings in one more small storytelling detail. I love how it breaks out some of the softer feminine elements with a little strength and masculinity. To finish the corner, I added a 3 pillows to the chair. That was the moment it finally felt complete. What I love most about this desk is that it doesn't feel like something styled in one afternoon. It felt like a little archive of things I loved, collected, thrifted, and carried home over time. Every shelf has a tiny memory, every object has its own little story, and together they make this corner feel deeper personal, like a quiet, romantic writing nook tucked inside our family room. For the final finishing touch, I added this Mediterranean style planter on top of the blue and white garden stool and filled it with polished white hydrangeas. The hydrangeas soften the space between the 2 accent chairs, while the garden stool gives the planter a little more height and presence. To dress out the mantle, I started with a stack of RH catalogs and placed this large bust beside the fireplace. Our brother and sister-in-law found it at a yard sale and gave it us as a housewarming gift, which makes it even more special. Echo that moment on the mantle, I added another stack of the coffee table books slightly off-centered from the bust below. On top, I placed one of my favorite Chinoiserie vases, sourced from my home country overseas. On the opposite sides of the vase, I laid a little gallery moment with some of our wedding photos. I used 3 silver frames in different shapes and sizes, so it feels collected instead of 2 perfectly matches. I also elevated the side frames with display easels to make the arrangement feel more intentional. I love how this side of the mantle brings in our story, while the vase can use the blue and white theme. Together, they make the fireplace feel balanced, meaningful, and connected to the rest of our family room. To complete the corner, I added this antique MCN style brass magazine rack from a local antique store. And with a few magazines tagging that, it instantly makes the space feel more living and intentional. And that is the full family room makeover. I'm so happy with how this room came together. It feels warm, collective, personal, and truly like us. I love that so many pieces in this space were thrift, antique, collective over time, and tied it to little family memories. To me, this is what makes a room feel so special. I also love how I put so many traditional and classic blue and white accents together into one cohesive space. Thank you so much for spending time with me today. I hope this makeover gave you some inspirations for bringing more character, charms, and collective details into your own home. I'll see you in the next one. Bye!